The reaction yesterday after a grand jury in Louisville decided not to move forward with charges against any of the officers for their role in the death of Breonna Taylor, who was shot during a police raid on March 13th. One of the officers, Brett Hankinson, was charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment for shooting into neighboring apartments during the raid. Among those with strong reactions yesterday was LeBron James, who reacted on Twitter, posting, "I've been lost for words today. I'm devastated, hurt, sad, mad. We want justice for Breonna, yet justice was meant for her neighbor's apartment walls and not her beautiful life. Was I surprised at the verdict? Absolutely not. But damn it, I was and still am hurt and heavy-hearted. I send my love to Breonna, mother, family, and friends. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." He then posted, "The most disrespected person on earth is the black woman. I promise you I'll do my best to change as much as I can and even more. Love to you queens all over this country and beyond." And he was certainly not the only high-profile athlete yesterday with reaction. Malika Andrews has been covering all of the events in the NBA's bubble for us, and she joins us live from Orlando this morning. Malika, what more can you tell us about the reaction across the league to the ruling yesterday?
Well, Greeny, yesterday was a draining day for a lot of people. You heard LeBron James say that he wasn't surprised. That was a sentiment that a lot of these NBA athletes in the bubble and outside of the bubble, that sentiment resonated with them. But still, they were hoping for something different. Because remember, Greeny, this justice for Breonna Taylor in the eyes of the law was something that these players, these coaches, have been fighting for since the restart. Here's a listen at some of the things that these players were saying yesterday.
It's frustrating. It's been 194 days, and still no justice. Still having to fight for the same thing, and it was just a lot to process. It's a tough day for all of us.
We have so many people who care about this country and so many people who want change and believe in equal justice for black and brown communities, and yet we don't have it. It's such a tough hill to climb, but this long history of racism that we have in our country continues, and it continues in the form of this kind of violence, state-sanctioned violence, over and over again that we're seeing, and it's devastating.
It's almost much bigger than basketball. Because that could be anybody. That could be me, that could be any African American. So when you look at it like that, for me, it's always on my heart because I just think it's some bull crap. And going into the game, you do gotta compete, but at the end of the day, I mean, we're people first, not just athletes.
And Greeny, it's important to underscore the balance that these guys are trying to strike here in the bubble and in the camps that they are starting back in their respective home markets, because especially here in Orlando, Jaylen Brown said that while he wasn't surprised, it's still hard to go and play playoff level basketball, to focus on something like that when in the back of their mind, what happened to Breonna Taylor, what happened in Kentucky, what happened in Louisville, that is still replaying. And I want to underscore something that Jaylen said. He said that this is a product of the system, and this is the intention of the way the system was built. Because this is a country that systemic racism was in its founding, in order for this to change, he believes that there needs to be some change, some reckoning, some dismantlement of how things are currently, of the current system, in order for it to be more just and more fair for black and brown people moving forward.
So, Malika, we have heard from players. We heard there from a coach. What, if anything, do we know of next steps the league may take regarding this?
Well, that's still something that they're working on, right? We've seen over the course of the last couple of months, the players hold the power. What they have asked for, by and large, they have gotten. When they said they wanted to have money, when they said they wanted to have a monetary investment in black and brown businesses, the league said, okay. When players said they wanted some sort of symbolism on the court, the league said, okay. And so that is where we're looking here. It's going to be player-driven, and I expect voting to be a big part of that. But the double-edged sword to that, Greeny, as you know, is that as this league is pushing for people to go out and vote for a change because they do not see the leadership that they want in respective states and in federally held offices, the double-edged sword is that so many black people in this country have lost the right to vote. So these players are going to continue to push for access to voting as well as voter turnout, because that's something that's a privilege that's been taken away from a whole lot of people. But at the same time, players on the Heat, players on the Celtics yesterday, the Lakers, the Nuggets today, they're not necessarily talking about stopping play like they did a couple of weeks ago with George Floyd. We expect them to keep playing, to keep pushing in that way, but it's going to be a balance, and they're going to be attempting to do both to continue to highlight this and also to finish out these playoffs.